friend. I feel the same way about you.
So today we are talking about fear.
Yes.
About fear because fear stifles dreams. Fear stifles relationships. You know, not allowing you to love your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Fear stops you from starting that business, from stepping out of your comfort zone. Fear a lot of times kills aspirations and dreams.
Mm.
So we wanted to talk about why fear does that to so many people. And we also want to definitely end with some solutions of things that you can do when you find yourself in that place of, hey, can I do this? Can I overcome this? To help move you forward and not be so fearful, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and everyone has a story. Everyone has a time, a place, a moment when they've not felt as though they could do something, and they allowed that fear or that anxiety to come through and not push forward. So if you're listening, if you have any questions or you have anything to add to the conversation, definitely put any comments in the chat that you want to share. Tell us about any stories that you dealt with where you were fearful and you had to overcome something, because your story and everyone's story blesses someone else, regardless of
Hmm.
how bad it was. At whatever point in your life that you were at, your story always will bless. It happened to you, and it also happened for you. It
Hmm.
happened for you to use as your purpose in helping someone else. So I love to share my story of anxiety, of fear, different things that I've been through and experienced, because I know at the end that it can help someone else, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what does fear mean to you, or what is fear?
It's interesting. Fear is just of the devil. No, no, like I'm serious. Like when we think about even in coaching, it is something we a lot of times we call it a block, right? So in
Mm,
coaching, we deal with different blocks, things that's stopping you from actually moving forward. And so fear is it's a block. It keeps you, like you said, sometimes it keeps you stifled, it keeps you back. And it's one of the things that come up that will keep you from really living your best life. So and I definitely have had a lot of experience with fear. And it's just, I don't even know the words to describe, um, besides it being a major block that will really impact you negatively. Um, yeah, do you want me to jump into some of my experience with fear, or do you want to just talk about fear? Like, because it's definitely something. I will tell you this. I talked to even somebody today. It's something that affects so many people. So many people, you don't realize how much they are experiencing fear in different parts of their lives is keeping them from moving forward. So a lot of times we think it's just me, like I'm the only one experiencing this, I'm the only one that feels this way. But you are not alone. So many people have and are experiencing this even now. So it's definitely a block. And I feel like this too, Mina, it's something that has come from sometimes from experiences, right? So you experience something and then it forms a belief, and then you kind of find yourself in this continuous cycle. Um, and I'll even say, for instance, I'll give this example. There was um, a lady, Priscilla Shirer. She's a well-known speaker. I remember she had made a comment. She was speaking and she was talking about how fear had kept her back. How she said that, like, when she would get the opportunity when someone would ask her to speak, and this was like before, she was super well known,
mhm.
she would literally start sweating. Her hands would start sweating. She felt like she wanted to throw up. She would get sick, and she would want to call in and say, no, just get somebody else. Just get somebody else. And so and looking at her now, it's like, wow, she went through that. So even hearing her story, like what you just said earlier, how, a lot of times when you can share your story with people, it will bless them because they realize they're not alone, you know, and this is something that a lot of people experience, and it's something that we need to overcome so we can really move forward in life, you know, like we're supposed to, and live a full life that we're supposed to live.
Yeah, that's good. You know, and you said something really good. You talked about a lot of it stems from experiences that we've had before, right?
Yeah,
And it changes into, and those experiences tie into our emotions, which tie into our beliefs about, you
absolutely.
know, whether we can do things, beliefs about if it's going to happen again to us, right? When we're dealing with
Hmm.
something that made us fearful in that situation, if we ever encounter it again in the future, there comes the nervousness, there comes the shaky, the sweaty hands. You know, I shared with you the other day about in boot camp, I could not shoot on the range. So if there are any of my Marines in here, you know about, in order to be a Marine and to graduate from boot camp, you have to be able to shoot a rifle. So in boot camp, my first platoon, I failed the rifle range. So I had to stay an extra month in the Marine Corps boot camp, so to learn how to shoot the rifle and qualify to where I could move forward. So every year, and because of that experience of me failing at that one point in my life, every year where I had to requalify with the rifle, it brought up those emotions. So there was that experience that had happened to me before. So immediately I had the belief that I'm not going to be able to do it again. You know, am I going to fail again? This is going to be so embarrassing, you know, because now I'm a Marine. So now what do I do? So those experiences that we have from our past, from, you know, anything that you may be dealing with today, those kind of program your beliefs on how you think and feel about stress or about fear. Yeah, Viva La Rose said the rifle range was a lot of stress and pressure.
Mm,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
not only the rifle range, but even the pistol range. So I'm gonna tell you, the pistol range used to freak me out because it was less not less structure, but it was less stability with shooting the pistol vice the rifle. So a lot of stressors that really caused a lot of fear in me. And you're exactly right. Those beliefs can lead to those fears. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm reading a book right now, and it says it's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's by
Hmm.
Shad Helmstetter. And he talks about how your brain believes what you tell it most. So if I'm
Oh yeah.
scared of something, if I'm scared of public speaking, if I'm scared of the range, if I'm scared of, you know, driving, and I'm telling myself that, you know, I'm gonna have an accident, or I'm not gonna make it, or I'm gonna fail, um, that leads into me believing it.
Hmm.
So when we're fearful and we have those thoughts, and it's in our brain, as it's in our, we're programming our minds to think that way, that's where that fear really comes up and stifles us.
Absolutely. And even there's an acronym that a lot of people use for fear is false evidence appearing real,
Mm,
right? And so,
mm,
and you know what's amazing to me, that sometimes they're, like you said, sometimes it's an experience that people have, and then they continue to replay this, and they think this or they say this, and then they find themselves like, or we find ourselves in the same cycle. But you know what, with me, I can't even pinpoint a specific thing, because I remember being afraid as a child. You know, I've
mm.
had some experience and things like that, some supernatural experiences and things like that as a child, but I can't pinpoint this one experience caused this whole thing. You know, it was almost, and you know, I'm a believer and I love Jesus, so you get a little sprinkle of Jesus when you get me. But you know, there is this thing, even in the Bible, it talks about the spirit of fear, you know. And so I believe that sometimes, you know, there is from experiences and things that we go through, and you know, practical, but sometimes there's a deeper spiritual root, you know. And even when the word, like when the Bible says God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind, it shows you that fear is a spirit, you know,
Mm.
and it attached itself, you know. And so mine, like I said, I couldn't pinpoint anything specific, but I was, as a child, afraid of the Wizard of Oz, which most people are not afraid of the Wizard of Oz. I was afraid of Hocus Pocus. Like everything would scare me. I would have dreams, like everything would scare me, you know? And so that being so afraid of everything really did stifle me from taking risk, from being open to certain things. And so, yes, it's real. It is real, but it can be overcome. It can be overcome. And one of my experiences, even just to, go more personal with public speaking, I guess as a child, I did feel like my voice was kind of taken. Like when what I had to say didn't matter, I would go and like tell on my sister and, oh, girl, don't worry about it. Just, don't worry about it. I was kind of dismissed. And so, so when it came to public speaking, I remember a couple years ago, my pastor had told his assistant to ask me in the fall, we do this thing called 7-on-7, and 7 people speak for 7 minutes. And so she came to me and said, Pastor wants you to be one of the ones that do the 7-on-7. I said, what? No, can I say no? I'm like, oh my God. And so immediately now, it was like 2 months in advance. My heart starts racing. Like as soon as she told me this, I'm like, oh my God, no, I can't do this. Can I say no? I probably can't say no. I probably really need to do this, because there was a part of me that was like, this is part of your breakthrough, that, like that I felt. I'm like, but no, this is too scary, And so I just remember being so afraid, and not like 2 months ahead of time. And they gave us the topic and everything, but I was just like, oh my God, I can't, this, no. And I was like, can I dance? So I'm kind of like Priscilla Shirer. I'm trying to get out of it, because if I can dance and do some praise and worship dance or something like that and not say anything, I probably feel a little bit better. And I mean, thankfully he was so gracious. He was like, whatever the Lord leads you to do, but I knew deep down, like, I need to break through this place, because why am I so afraid, And so, so yeah, that was one of the times when I experienced, like fear at another level, even to that day. Like I was afraid for 2 months, like thinking about it, like you talked about your thoughts. When I thought about it, I started feeling the physical effects of it, right?
Yes.
Our minds are powerful. Our minds are so powerful. That's why a lot of times we have to retrain our minds, retrain our thinking, because you think a thought, you start feeling it in your body. You can think yourself sick. You can think yourself into craziness, So that's why when it comes to our mindsets, we really have to retrain those minds. But yeah, so that was, I mean, I felt the physical effects of it, even like before I even got up on the stage. Even up until I got up on the stage, I felt the physical effects of it, And so, but once I actually got up there and I prayed, because I just believe in prayer, but I believe in prayer. And so I prayed and I did it. And once I got up there and did it, it was like, whew, okay, I didn't die. I did not die,
That's